and welcome to Chart of the Day Cafe for Thursday, January 25th, 2018. Read our disclaimer quickly. Trading stocks is a high level of risk, and viewers should complete their own due diligence on any stock or underlying that they intend to own. 100% of the content of this video and communique is intended for journalistic and educational purposes only. This video and all indicators, strategies, and articles herein should not be construed as investment advice, not making any recommendations, always for your further homework. Good morning, Sue here. Hope you've had a great week so far. There's lots going on this Thursday morning with an announcement from the ECB that they're going to leave rates unchanged. And the World Economic Forum happening in Davos, Switzerland. I think Donald Trump arrived there yesterday, so there should be some interesting tweets coming out of that. Anyway, with that, let's get into our video. We always start off with a look at the Russell Index. And for that, I use the IWM, which is the ETF that represents the Russell 2000. And I like to step back and take a look at it on the bigger monthly time frame. So I'm using the 5-year monthly. And as you can see, we were keeping an eye on this wedge through all of 2017. Price was contained within that wedge by this black diagonal line, but we had a breakout to the upside. And here's the candle for the month of December. Here's the candle so far for January. So far, markets continue in that strong mode with a bullish candle so far for the month of January. Going to move it away from the monthly to the 2-year weekly, or let's go with the 1-year weekly. And as you can see, there's the same wedge, same black diagonal line. We're just looking at the smaller time frame. And so here's the weekly. I would put a little line of additional support in here and say we want to see price continue to stay up and over this orange short-term area of support resistance. So it struggled a little bit yesterday. We want to see some follow through to the upside today. Again, we're looking at the weekly charts. I'm going to switch it over to the daily in a minute, but I wanted you to note that price is up and over that blue 8-day EMA that we like to use as our guide. I use it as a guide on the daily chart. So I like to see price up and over the blue on the daily. So as you can see, the Russell's still in that strong uptrend mode with price up and over the blue, and we're going to keep an eye on this short-term area of support resistance. But with price currently showing that price strength on the Russell, we are going to put a new chart forward this morning. And the new name I'm adding to our watch list this morning is Extreme Networks Inc., ticker symbol EXTR, trades on the NASDAQ exchange. They're a technology company in the networking and telecommunications space. You know what, Chart of the Day Cafe? I am all about the scores underneath my charts, and I've got to tell you, Extreme Networks has amazing, amazing scores. So I specifically circle value and growth, and rarely do I see a value score as high as this one. So sometimes I'll say good, sometimes I say great. This one is excellent, excellent value score, with a forecasted earnings growth rate going forward of 38%. It does not pay a dividend. I usually like to look for dividend payers, but this one does not pay a dividend. I love the chart anyway and wanted to feature it for you. It's got a current PE of 19.26. So with that, let's get into the chart. We're looking at the 2-year weekly. As you can see, it's in a beautiful uptrend on the 2-year weekly. It's been bouncing around this area and kind of consolidating. I think we're in an interesting area where, should we get a continued strong market environment, I would not be too surprised to see Extreme Networks break out here. And I call this sky is blue, no overhead resistance, never been higher. So with that, let's get it into the smaller time frame, move away from the 2-year weekly to the 6-month daily. So you can see I've got my orange line drawn in here, and it had a tiny little attempt at a breakout yesterday with volume coming in, but it sort of came in throughout the day. But I love the look of this chart with those scores and their earnings coming up. I believe it's on February 7th. I think that Extreme Networks is one to keep an eye on here. So I'm going to just put my little green circle on the chart and say that this is an area I will be watching for this name, Extreme Networks. Along with our new watch list pick, I also like to take a look at the sector that it's in, and for that we're looking at XLK, which is the ETF for the technology sector. 2-year weekly chart. You can see on the 2-year weekly, beautiful uptrend, price strength continuing. So like to see that the underlying sector is also showing that strength. Additionally, I like to look at seasonality, and for that I go to equityclock.com, which is an excellent site. Here's the seasonal chart for Extreme Networks. As you can see, it doesn't really come into seasonal favor until about April. To me, the chart overrides this seasonal chart because these are just tendencies, but wanted to show that to you. I think it's also a good data point to know about when you're looking at a chart. As well, I like to spin over to FinViz to see if I've got analyst support for my new watch list pick. And as you can see, here's the area on FinViz related to Extreme Networks. Look at that beautiful suite of analyst coverage, all positive of late. And we've even had an upgrade, or sorry, an initiation of coverage on January 3rd of this year. That's good. A lot of positive articles here. I'm going to include this one. It's Zack's #1 strong buy company. So I'm going to include this article with today's video as well, Anatomy of Success, dated January 23rd. And so to summarize, let's go back and check the boxes. I started today's video with a look at the Russell Index. We always want to make sure that the overall market is in an uptrend before we put any new charts forward, and we can see that price is currently up and over that 8-day EMA on the daily chart, and price strength continues. We looked at the sector that Extreme Networks is in. XLK was the ETF we looked at. It's also showing price strength on the 2-year chart. We looked at Extreme Networks in an uptrend on the 2-year chart and at an area of possible price continuation to the upside we will see. Emphasis on possible. It's got an excellent value score. I'm going to underline that. Excellent, excellent value score. Excellent growth score with a forecasted earnings growth rate of 38%. It does not pay a dividend, so that's not checked. It currently does have that 3 and 8 EMA cross, but I am looking for it to break up and over this area on the chart we identified with our orange line. Seasonality, we showed you that chart. Seasonal favor comes in April, so it's coming soon. I am not going to check that yet. Analyst support, we looked at FinViz. We can see all of those analysts, a recent initiation of coverage and upgrades. It's also a Zack's #1 strong buy. And I've got this check, sky is blue, which to me is no overhead resistance. If it makes it through this area, no resistance overhead. I call that sky is blue. And it's got a current PE of 19.26, and it looks as though their earnings are going to be on February 7th. Thank you for watching today's video, and if you like receiving these, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting the red subscribe button on my YouTube homepage. Mine is white because I'm already a subscriber. And with that, I'll leave you. Have a great weekend, and our next video goes out on Tuesday.